Okay, so Richard Gladwell here for Sail World. We're on board TeamVodafoneSailing with Simon Hull. What's the agenda for the Fiji race, Simon?
Well, just get there as quick as we can so we can have a beer, really, Richard. We leave on the 4th of June. We'll take what the record's currently about 3.5 days. We'll take what they throw at us. Fortunately, the Team New Zealand camper Volvo 70 is going, which is going to give us someone to chase. So yeah, we're looking forward to a good race and looking forward to heading north, which is always warm at this time of year.
Are you seeing that match up with Team New Zealand and the Volvo 70 as a bit of a grudge match?
Oh, certainly not a grudge match, Richard. I think it's going to be quite interesting. America's Cup's now gone into multis, and here we are chasing what's state of the art and a bigger boat in a 70. So yeah, it's going to be cool. We're going to be quite interesting. You know, there's a lot of there's a few bets, a couple of bottles of rum on it. So yeah.
We just looked at some numbers down below with John Bilger from Predict Wind, and he reckoned if you left now you'd be there in 2.5 days. Is that sort of the numbers you're hoping to see?
That's starting to sound a bit scary, Richard. That means we're going to be going quite fast some of the time. Yeah, I mean the computer predictions are showing some good possibilities. I guess when there's no wind, all boats go the same speed. So it just really depends how much breeze we get through that convergence zone about halfway up, whether we get through that in good time or whether we park for 12 or even 24 hours. You can.
Is this the first sort of transoceanic crossing you've done in TeamVodafoneSailing?
Yeah, it is. It's our first offshore, so it's going to be quite interesting how hard we can push her in waves. Obviously, with these things, crashing is not acceptable. So it's going to be quite interesting doing a learning curve for us to take her offshore, sail her in seas, sail her in the trades. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
What sort of speeds are you expecting to get into, you know, given what you've seen in the likes of the Coastal Classic and the other offshore racing you've done?
Well, we went out today and we saw 30 knots boat speed, so and kind of 15 knots of breeze. Yeah, we're gonna get mid-30s, surfing down waves and stuff, and I guess potentially at times we could be trying to slow the boat down so we don't drive into the waves in front. So yeah, it's going to be a learning curve. Hopefully we don't learn the hard way. You know, we learn before we have to learn.
So how do you slow a boat down like this? I mean, what do you actually do?
Obviously reducing sail initially, points of sail, what points of sail you're going to sail it on. You know, if you have to, you can sail a little higher and a little slower for a while if you're in extreme conditions. And then of course if you get in storm conditions, you've got various different things we can throw off the boat to slow it down, drag drogues and so on.
What happens with the wing sail in that condition? Do you just sort of feather that and get by that way, or what?
Yeah, well, the wing sail is actually 300 square feet, a little in excess of that, so it's equivalent to a trysail anyway, so you don't have a trysail on these things. The wing is plenty in those conditions, and you might well still find yourself running in 50 knots. And 50 knots doing, I don't know, surfing down waves at 25, 30 knots, you might be slowing it down. Especially if you're starting to get breaking waves, you're going to want to control the back of the boat. So
what's the worst wind condition you've seen on this boat?
We haven't really seen much. We've been out in 35, seen a few puffs of 40, and that's it so far. So yeah, it's a learning curve.
And what's happening with the Australian program?
We go mid-July over to Sydney. We'll be a couple of weeks in Sydney, a few corporate days, fly a hull under the Sydney Harbour Bridge is the plan. Then on the 30th of July, we do the Sydney Southport race. Then we're going to do the Brisbane Keppel Island race. Then we do Ely Beach Regatta and Hamilton Island Regatta. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're really looking forward to getting over there. There's a couple of those coastal races they're not going to let us enter, but we'll probably just turn up and do them anyway, and hopefully we'll be there to buy them a beer at the end.
So what happens with the races that they're declining entry, and you just rock up slightly after the start and follow the fleet and see what happens?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll let them get across the start line, and we'll probably tootle across it a couple of minutes later and see what happens. Follow there. It's going to be great to get the boat up against some of the 100-foot maxis they've got running up and down that coast. There's some great race boats over there, and hopefully we can show the Australians what multi-hulls can do. Get the right conditions.
And we've seen with the AC45s out here that they were surprisingly good to windward. How do you see Team Vodafone sailing to windward against these, super maxis and that sort of thing? Is she going to be competitive?
Yeah, I think we'll hold our own uphill against the maxis. Certainly the polars tell us that we do, and the numbers that we're hitting tell us that we do. So yeah, I mean, other than really extreme conditions when we might be slowing it down so we're not launching off waves, we should hold them uphill. We should be quicker reaching, and in the light they'll be quicker than us. But most other conditions we should be competitive. So that's going to be great fun. It's going to, we go out here every day and we race the clock. So it's going to be great fun to go out and race some real boats.
What's the crossover with a multi-hull like this with a maxi in terms of angle to the wind as to when the multi-hull really comes into its own?
From the little I know, and I've never raced maxis, I've been on but never really raced them. From the little I know, I think as soon as we start cracking sheets, we should have a small speed advantage over them. Uphill, nothing in it; downhill, nothing in it. So that's really what the little I know of the polars. But I'm far from an expert. Ask me in about 3 months, and I'll know all the answers.
Okay, thanks very much, and all the best.
Cheers.